Hello and welcome to Cornish Walking Trails. Today we're at Prussia Cove. In our video today we'll be on the trail of smugglers at Prussia Cove, a haunted castle and a ghostly white rabbit. So we've come to Prussia Cove today. We're on the trail of a smuggling story. Prussia Cove is on the south coast of Cornwall near Penzance. Prussia Cove consists of three little coves: King's Cove, Piskey's Cove and Bessie's Cove. We've parked here in the car park and we're going to wander down to Bessie's Cove. Smuggling in Cornwall was a huge business in the 1700s to the early 1800s. The story today is about John Carter. He was one of the biggest smugglers in the area.
The Carters of Prussia Cove are among the most famous of all the Cornish smugglers. From their protected haven on the south Cornish coast, they held sway over the smuggling trade from 1770 to 1807. Of this celebrated gang, brothers John and Harry Carter emerged as the principal characters, with John as the self-styled King of Prussia. Smugglers must have been fit.
Legend has it that Cliff Cottage has a tunnel down to the caves below us.
What, a tunnel under the house?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a mine shaft?
No. It was for their contraband to be stored, their smuggling goods.
Smuggling.
So there's a tunnel under you somewhere.
Jump up and down.
So we read that there was an illegal alehouse or kiddly. Which house was it in? Do you remember?
Is it Bessie's house or something?
Wonder if it's that one. Could be that one.
It's really old, isn't it? The thatched cottage there. Fantastic. Tiny little windows on it.
Do you think that rainbow is pointing us to the pot of gold John Carter left behind?
There it is!
It's over there!
Dig it up! Well, I was just curious why the smuggling sort of kicked off, to be honest with you.
Okay, so Britain's been fighting the war of American independence through the 1770s. Napoleon's been rampaging through Europe from about 1790 onwards, so you've got this 20-year period where we're at war. So the government is broke. It has no money to fight these wars, so it tries to raise taxes on everything, including things like brandy, silk, tobacco. So the enterprising Cornish think, no, I'm not paying that huge price for my tobacco anymore. I'm going to hop over to Roscoff over there and I'm going to buy it from the French cheap because I know they'll sell it to me. So they bring it back here and then they can sell it below the market price, which the duty the government has imposed on it makes. So it's how we made money out of the wars.
So I don't think the British government were very keen to be losing out on the taxes then, were they?
No, so once the war with Napoleon had finished in the early 1800s, that's when they started patrolling, the Navy started patrolling up and down these shores, putting an end to smuggling. How long do you reckon it would take to row to France then?
Row? Not doing that today. Bad enough coming down here, it's going to stay at my shoes.
I've seen worse.
I can go France. We just had a story out of Poldark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that exact era. It is that exact. There is actually a scene in Poldark in the first series where you've got the people going down to the wreck and they're taking all of the stuff off the ship, the silk and the beer and the brandy, and they're just taking it.
Bringing the boats up.
Yeah, there's one behind you. This is the old winding gear used to pull the boats out of the sea, and they would have been full of brandy and tobacco and all sorts of contraband. So we've come right down on this lower slipway now, and we're right in front of those caves. Those are the caves that are meant to have this tunnel.
They're conveniently located just under that great big house.
Yeah.
It's amazing after all these years of them smuggling like this that nobody knew what was going on.
Well, I think they did catch up with them in the end, didn't they?
Do you think they might have turned a bit of a blind eye?
John Carter, he had his store raided by the Customs and Excise.
What happened then?
He went and took it all back.
Oh, right.
But he didn't take anybody else's because he was an upstanding member of the community. He only took his own.
Oh, well, that was good of him, wasn't it? At least he was honest.
Yeah, but it left a big clue. So part of the legend is that the officials and the magistrates were in on it. They were getting the back decanters.
No.
If you were a magistrate, what would you order?
Pasties. Smuggle them in from... No, they made them here. No, we didn't. They didn't have to smuggle them in. It was all fine.
So I wonder if this is where the little gunner was stationed. Or do you think they stored their loot in there?
Well, I think this was more for the fishermen, wasn't it? For the sail nets and stuff like that, I would have thought.
Yeah, I guess.
But it does look as if it's been here an awfully long time.
Let's have a look in the window. There's wine bottles. It's in there. Contraband.
It says here that Prussia Cove owes its romantic name to John Carter, who lived here. As a boy, playing soldiers with his brothers Harry, Charles, James and Roger, John would pretend to be the heroic contemporary Frederick the Great, King of Prussia.
Wow.
It seems John Carter was equally charismatic, and his nickname rechristened the cove, or rather the area, since no one cove is actually called Prussia Cove.
Now his house has actually been demolished since. There's no point in speculating which one it was.
But it was on the site of where that one is over there.
Oh, I see. So if you've been around back then, would you have been a miner, a fisherman or a smuggler?
I would have been a pasty taster.
So that's our story about the legend of the King of Prussia in Cornwall. I hope you enjoyed it. Some contraband we'll be enjoying later.
Where's in my beer? Mine.
Ooh!
Where are we going now then, sir?
Pengersick Castle.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
On the trail of ghosts and ghoulies.
I like ghoulies.
It's in Prussia.
Prussia is a coastal village between Helston and Penzance in West Cornwall.
So Pengersick Castle has a reputation for being the most haunted castle in Britain. And it's tiny, it's so cute. You can't imagine it's really haunted, can you?
Allegedly one of the most haunted buildings in Cornwall, which has stood on this site since the Middle Ages. The original 12th century building was modified to become a fortified Tudor manor around 1500. With its well-publicised spooky reputation, Pengersick Castle is a magnet, drawing ghost hunters and those interested in the paranormal from all around the world. Guided tour of the castle with full access to gardens and grounds, £15.
According to their website, Pengersick has up to 20 ghosts, one of which is a monk that haunts their medieval garden wearing a wide-brimmed hat.
You'd think he would have kicked that habit, wouldn't you?
Oh.
Sarah? Come back, I'm scared.
Well, they're obviously not afraid. They can fly off. I wonder if this is the medieval part of the garden. Oh, it's a bit eerie, isn't it?
Many people were buried in unconsecrated ground. Their forlorn cries can be heard around the castle at night. The ghost of a young girl dances on the battlements and has been known to try to push people off if she disapproves of them. Inexplicable sounds of footsteps have been heard. Orbs, flashing lights have been seen on numerous occasions. Whatever the truth of these tales, Pengersick Castle remains an atmospheric and beautiful place. It is well worth a visit.
Oh, that's ominous, isn't it? That's up for sale. I wonder why. Castle Barn. Another one for sale. Either they're selling off all their land, or it really is haunted. So their website claims that there's even a dog and a cat that haunts this site. Here, Andrew, can you imagine being haunted by one of our cats? Wow! All night long.
I think I am already.
Yeah.
Or a ghostly rabbit.
I know where there is a ghostly rabbit.
Oh, okay. So this is Eglishire Old Church, just on the outskirts of Weybridge.
Weybridge is on the north coast of Cornwall near Port Isaac and Padstow.
What are we doing?
Looking for a white rabbit.
Oh, a white rabbit?
Not any white rabbit.
Alright.
A ghostly white rabbit.
A ghostly white rabbit.
In that churchyard.
You're nuts.
So, tradition says there is a ghostly white rabbit that some have claimed to see gambling around the churchyard before disappearing into the wall. What are you doing?
Mr. Rabbit! Mr. Rabbit!
You're calling a rabbit?
Yeah.
Why?
I think might be hungry.
Oh, mad! Come on, Mr. Rabbit!
Sarah! Look, he's holding it. Come on. big enough for a rabbit to get in.
Put your carrot in there.
There we go. Just got to wait 8 hours now to midnight.
I'm gonna wait here till it's dark. I'm not. So the only white rabbit I know about is the one in Alice in Wonderland. He might have quite liked that clock, look.
Oh, he's late. He's late.
Yeah, for a very important date.
As traditions go, where there are rabbits, there will be someone who wants to take a pot shot at them. A local man with a shotgun went out hunting the ghostly rabbit at Eglishell Church. A few of his friends, who were curious about how he would get on, followed at a safe distance. They heard the gun go off and raced to the scene, only to find the hunter dead, shot by his own gun. The ghost of this tragic victim now also is said to haunt the churchyard. It can be seen pointing a gun at something disturbing grasses in the distance.
Oh no. Nothing there, is there? No. If you know of any other place that has a ghostly rabbit, let us know in the comments. So I hope you've enjoyed our video about smuggling, ghosts and rabbits.
Rabbits!
Cute, wasn't it?
I think it was time that we hopped it.
Oh.